To finish off the different types of connective tissue, we'll start with osseous tissue. Now, osseous tissue is the tissue that will primarily make up bones. There are two types of osseous tissue to look into, or two types of bones to look into. We have cancellous bone and we have compact. Now, cancellous bone is more like spongy bone. It's more of the inside components towards the ends of the bone. The compact bone is what you traditionally see as the outside of the bone, very solid, very firm bone. But both of them are made up of osseous tissue. It doesn't matter which one you're looking at. All of osseous tissue is highly vascular, which means it has a great blood supply network. So plenty of nutrients and gases coming in and waste products going back out. Nutrient storage. Your bones, your osseous tissue that makes up your bones, they're going to have a high amount of nutrient storage. Think about all the minerals in there, primarily calcium being stored. So we have a nutrient storage inside of the osseous tissue. There's 3 different cell types now. We still have the blast and cyte, osteoblast and osteocyte. So osteoblast, that's making or developing the matrix, while osteocyte is going to be maintaining the matrix, keeping it healthy, monitoring the stress and strain on the bones, seeing if you need to strengthen or if you're strong enough and don't need that much force. But the new one, the osteoclast. Osteoclasts are going to be bone breaking down. What they do is they actually take the matrix and dissolve it. By dissolving the matrix, they help to break down bone and allow for it to go other places, releasing calcium in the blood supply. So the osteoclasts and osteoblasts balance each other out when you're functioning normally. Osteoblasts make the bone, osteoclasts break down the bone. Ideally, they balance and you're constantly remodeling the bones all throughout life. So 3 different types of cells now. When we start looking at the osseous tissue, this example is going to be from compact bone. You can notice it looks like one big, huge ring structure. Almost think of a cross-section of a tree. This is the osteon, basically the unit of the osseous tissue. What you're seeing here is a whole calcified matrix. Each one of these black kind of dots that have all these lines going out, those are going to be the osteocytes in their lacuna, same as cartilage, lacuna. So osteocytes in lacuna. All these little lines going out, those are microscopic little cracks that allow for diffusion of blood. Because all the blood is located in the very central area right here. That's where the blood vessels will be found. So the blood, the nutrients have to diffuse out around that ring structure. Where do you find them? Bones. Don't just say that osseous tissue is found in the body. Say it's found within bones, it's found within the femur, found within the tibia. Pick a bone's fine. But be specific again. What are the functions? Well, structure. It helps give you structure to your body. We said mineral storage. Sure, it helps store calcium. It's also going to be levers for your muscles. Think about it. If you didn't have osseous tissue in these bones, could your muscles pull on anything to give you movement? No. So it allows for an anchoring point of the muscles. Also down here, marrow formation. Your red blood cells are formed in red bone marrow. Red bone marrow is found inside of these bones. So that means the osseous tissue is going to be a structural unit around where the red bone marrow is. So again, another function, another structure. So quite a few things that osseous tissue does in comprising and making up your bones. All right, going from the solid of bones, the osseous tissue, to the liquid of blood. So what we're seeing is there's 3 main formed elements in blood. You have your red blood cells, your white blood cells, and your platelets. Now, red blood cells, you can see, are known as erythrocytes, the full name for red blood cells. White blood cells are leukocytes. So all 5 of the white blood cells are called leukocytes. And then thrombocytes make up the platelets. Thrombocytes make up the platelets. Together, these formed elements are the solid components inside your blood. Now, the reason they're called formed elements is because they're not all cells. Platelets are actually fragments of cells. So you have this whole megakaryocyte, this large cell, that breaks pieces off. Those pieces are the platelets. So that's why we can't call these cells, but they're going to be fragments are going to be the platelets. So they're the formed elements. In between all the formed elements is the liquid, because obviously your blood's liquid. It's the plasma. Plasma is primarily, mostly, made up of water. 90% water. There's about 8% proteins, and give or take about 2% are all the rest of the components inside of it. So really it's 90% water, a bunch of protein, and then some other stuff mixed in. That's your blood. When you look at the blood, these are the red blood cells. So all these are red blood cells. You can see that's the majority. Most of your blood is red blood cells. This right here, that structure is a white blood cell. Now, don't worry about which one of the 5. Just know for our purposes now, white blood cell. AP2, when you get into blood, you'll know the 5, but for now, just the white blood cell. Which leaves platelets. These small fragments, those are going to be platelets. Platelets, again, remember, are going to be the broken off pieces of a larger cell. Platelets. And all the clear in between, that's the plasma. That's the liquid parts. So where do you find blood? Well, it's in your blood vessels. It's in your heart. What's the purpose of blood? Transportation. Transporting nutrients, transporting waste, transporting gases. So transportation really is the main function of this. So within blood vessels, within the heart, transporting gases. 3 different formed elements: red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. That is your blood. All right, that wraps up the connective tissue aspect. Now that we've finished up all of our connective tissues, we've gone through our connective tissue proper, which had the loose and the firm gel matrix parts. We have our cartilages, and we now had our blood, liquid, and osseous tissue solid. We finally finished up going through and identifying all of our different connective tissues. So they all have their own unique traits. They all have their own unique characteristics. The key for identification, figuring out what each individual characteristic is from each individual tissue. So those are our connective tissues.